Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Conversation Daily News. Glad you all could be with us. Well, we made it to the end of another week, and we are halfway through the month of February already. Because you have news headlines coming up on this Friday. Have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. And in today's music and news, yesterday I was joined on Conversations Live, the radio show, by Dr. Tania Elliott. She shares some practical tips on how you guys can stay healthy during cold and flu season. You don't want to miss that. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Friday headlines. In Mississippi news, tiny houses for homeless folks approved by Jackson City Council. The Jackson City Council approved funding Tuesday for a new project to build tiny houses for homeless people. The director of the Jackson Resource Center said the reaction was positive when she told business owners about her plan to build dozens of tiny homes to house people experiencing homelessness. Emotions boiled over during a heated discussion about the subject during Tuesday's City Council meeting. The mayor wants to spend $3 million in federal funds to build homes for homeless people. Where is the $3 million to help the elderly folks to renovate their homes and fix their roofs? Where is the $3 million to clean up the abandoned properties? Asked Ward 5 Councilman Vernon Hartley. The goal is to build 60 tiny homes to serve an unhoused population now living on the streets. They will be located on a vacant lot on Capers Avenue off Capitol Street. Opponents like West Jackson resident Sheila Harper says their voices are not being heard. How can we grow a community where we have the mayor that's not listening to us, and we have our city council not listening to us, Harper asked. Harper believes building the project will hurt property values and drive people away from the neighborhood that she says have been struggling to come back. It's wrong at all levels when you tell a community, we don't care, we really got this plan, and whether y'all like it or not, you might as well eat it because it's going to happen, Harper said. The head of the Resource Center said residents of the tiny homes will be required to work and pay 30% of their income in rent. And the more houses we can provide to take them off the street where they can afford it, then the more individuals we'll see being productive in their day-to-day lives, said the executive director. The Mississippi Department of Corrections will use inmate labor to build the homes on prison grounds. The first one should be ready by early spring. In national news, shooting after Chiefs Super Bowl parade seemed to stem from dispute among several people, police say. The mass shooting that unfolded amid throngs of people at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl celebration appeared to stem from a dispute between several people, authorities said on Thursday. Police Chief Stacey Graves said that 22 people were injured in the shooting, ranging from the ages of 8 to 47. Half of whom were under the age of 16. A mother of 2 was also killed. 3 people were detained, including 2 juveniles, but no charges have been filed yet, Graves said. Police are calling for witnesses, people with cell phone footage, and victims of the violence to call a dedicated hotline. We are working to determine the involvement of others, and it should be noted we have recovered several firearms. This incident is still a very active investigation, Graves said at a news conference. The shooting outside Union Station occurred despite the presence of more than 800 police officers who were in the building and arena, including on top of nearby structures. Throngs had lined the parade route before the shooting, with fans climbing trees and street poles or standing on rooftops for a better view. Players rode through the crowd on double-decker buses as DJs and drummers heralded their arrival. In more national news, Prison Deaths Report finds widespread missteps and failures in latest sign of crisis in federal prisons. The kind of systemic failures that enabled the high-profile prison deaths of a notorious gangster and financier also contributed to the deaths of hundreds of other federal prisoners over the years, a watchdog report released Thursday found. Mental health care, emergency responses, and the detection of contraband drugs and weapons all are lacking, according to the latest scathing report, to raise alarms about the chronically understaffed Federal Bureau of Prisons. The agency said it's already taken substantial steps toward reducing preventable deaths, though it acknowledged there's a need for improvements, including in mental health assessments. The Justice Department watchdog report, triggered in part by those high-profile deaths, examined 344 deaths over the course of 8 years. Investigators found policy violations and operational failures in many of those cases. In more national news, Biden administration looks to expand student loan forgiveness to those facing hardship. Americans who are struggling to repay federal student loans because of financial hardship could get some of their debt canceled under President Joe Biden's latest proposal for widespread loan forgiveness. Several categories of borrowers will be eligible for relief under Biden's second try at widespread cancellation after the Supreme Court rejected his first plan last year. Those with older loans or large sums of interest are being targeted for relief. For example, on Thursday, the Education Department expanded its proposal to include those who face financial hardship. And finally, in business news, U.S. application for jobless benefits fall as labor market continues to show resilience. Fewer Americans filed for jobless claims last week as the labor market continues to show resilience in the face of elevated interest rates intended to cool economic growth in the U.S. Applications for unemployment benefits fell by 8,000 to 212,000 for the week ending February the 10th, the Labor Department reported on Thursday. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. No matter who you are, there will be times when you will face the fiery challenges of life. Those flames can either consume you or refine you. If you allow them to do the latter, they will make you better than what you ever thought possible. Regardless of the difficulty, hold on and don't give up. Have a great Friday and enjoy the weekend. We are part of my conversation coming up with Dr. Tania Elliott in today's News You Can Use. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your News You Can Use. Dr. Tania Elliott rejoined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to share some tips on how you can stay safe during the cold and winter season. Is a bit of our conversation. Dr. Elliott, always a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So this is something that is so important. I mentioned the survey. We'll start there. How are families navigating the challenges of sickness in the home these days?
Well, the one poll survey showed that more than 50% of people will tell their job or their school right away that they've come down with something. 50% of people will monitor their family members for symptoms. And I actually like the statistic of what people do. 71% actually find comfort in shared TV time. So if you're sick, you know what? Just snuggle on the couch, hang out, watch some Netflix, and just relax and spend the time together. Silver lining, right?
Exactly. Well, Dr. Elliott, I think for our audience out there, and we recently experienced this in my own home as well. People, when someone isn't feeling the best, of course you want to be supportive, but also you're thinking about how you can stay safe too. What are some ways to keep everyone in the home healthy this season?
Well, there's a couple of things. Even before we get sick, right? Keeping your house a shoe-free zone. People oftentimes don't think about all the stuff that's on the bottom of your shoes, but you're basically tracking in dirt, viruses, and bacteria throughout the house. And then similarly, make sure you shower after work or school because, again, you could be bringing in viruses on your hair and on your skin. So you want to make sure you just kind of hose down right when you come inside. I always say to my patients, never skip a nighttime shower. Otherwise, you're basically bringing all that into the house and then you're sleeping on it overnight and increases your likelihood of getting sick.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversation Daily News. But let's get on Mondays, more news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course your entertainment spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversation Daily News today. Let us go make today amazing. Take care.